Shall we start, sir, now? Yes, sir. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Periyasamy, Assistant Professor and Project Lead, NM Center for Public Policy under the Department of Economics. Takes immense pride in welcome you all for another trending and thought-provoking session by distinguished speakers from all over the world. This lecture is a part of Gandhi Jayanti and Ananda Jyoti 2023, an initiative of Kumaraguru College of Liberal Arts and Science, Coimbatore. Today, we are very happy to have Professor R. Gobinath, Principal Scientist, Department of Ecotechnology, MS Swaminathan Research Foundation, Chennai, to deliver a speech on agronomics and policy concern. Professor Gobinath, Principal Scientist, MS Swaminathan Research Foundation, has a doctoral degree in development economics and more than 15 years of work experience in research and development. His core area of specialization are food and nutrition security and agrarian transformation. He engages in research in rural transformation programs, monitoring and evaluation of government programs. He is also associated with the implementation of action research at the field level of food and nutrition security and engages in policy advocacy for upscaling. He has published research articles in highly reputed journals and as a journal referee for leading indexed journals, and also regular contributor to popular dailies such as The Hindu, both in English and Tamil. I would like to register my sincere thanks to Dr. Gobinath, sir, for having agreed to deliver this speech. I would like also to take this opportunity to welcome Thiru Shankar Vanavarayar, Joint Correspondent, Kumaraguru College of Liberal Arts and Science, whose able leadership and guidance have been instrumental to the department's activities to this lecture. I also welcome Dr. Vijala Edwin Kennedy, Principal, Kumaraguru College of Liberal Arts and Science, who has always provided immense encouragement towards all our initiatives, illuminating and guiding us on the various initiatives and giving us ample support to think differently. I extend my warmest welcome to all the deans, heads of the departments, faculty members, and students of class and participants from across the world attending today's lecture. Once again, I welcome all to this event. Thank you. So now I hand over the session to Professor Gobinath, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Periyasamy. It's my great privilege to be part of your that well-renowned lecture series, and we know that we always give high priority to any opportunity that we get from the late legend in Magalingam Sir's institutions, because the association between two legends, Professor MS Swaminathan and Sri N. Magalingam, is very well known. And his Kisan World used to be read by all research scholars based at MS Swaminathan Research Foundation. In a way, we are always virtually connected. And now I'm so sorry that, as usual, I used to connect through virtual mode with this institution for today's lecture. So, shall I share my screen? I think yes. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir, it's visible now.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir, now it is in presentation mode, like full screen.
Thank you very much. I'd like to reinstate about this topic, that agronomics and policy concerns and need for such kind of policy analysis in a present context where the entire country is in an agrarian crisis situation, and the aspiration of non-agricultural employment is growing across the states, particularly a state like Tamil Nadu. But before we go to any such kind of analysis, I would like to introduce you about few things about this policy, public policy. We generally have some opinion about public policy, but I would like to reinstate that it's a proposed and purposive course of action. So it should have a purposive course of action when we say that some public policy, something like that. And that should be directed to achieve certain goals set in the public policy or solving a specified problems faced by a group of people, a society, or nation as a whole. So this policy can be at a national level or state level or in any specific area level also. So how do this public policy emerge over the period? It's something like demand should come from a community or a group of people or scientists or bureaucrats. And based on this demand, decisions have to be taken on what are the aspects to be covered under this public policy. And based on these decisions, legal statements to be framed at the bureaucracy level, the governance level. And these statements are the public policy statements. And it doesn't mean that public policy stopped there itself. After announcing this policy, the importance of these public policies, has increased. So everyone expects that policy to be converted into action. So therefore, it moved into implementation stage. Any policy doesn't have implementation directly. The second stage of any public policy is framing programs or actions to achieve a goal set in the public policy. There we have programs, small programs. And then once you implement those programs, you will realize outputs, immediate outputs. And based on these outputs over the period, we will get outcomes. So these are all the stages of a public policy. In a nutshell, you can say that, okay, we framed a public policy, a policy on agriculture. I'll explain you with that agriculture as an example in a later slides. So initially we have a policy. So after this policy, next stage is to prepare or formulate programs to achieve a public policy statements. So once you develop programs, those programs should have implemented at the ground level. So when we go for implementation, the third stage, another important angle is resources, both financial and human resources. So that's why this analysis of budget is getting importance. If you read any budget analysis, there they clearly mention that the government, either state or central government, are having a certain policies. And they frame programs to achieve goals set in the policy. And whether the programs get resources or not, that you will get to know by analyzing this budget. Okay. So when we go for implementation, these financial resources are getting importance. So all these three stages have to be analyzed when we go for any public policy analysis. And three aspects are very important when we go for any analysis, policy analysis. Number one, people who can provide or interpret information about the policy. Yes, we have framed a policy. We want to analyze any particular policy. So number one, the people who can interpret the policy is very important. They can be a subject matter specialist of that particular policy. Economists like you and me, we do analyze resources requirement for that one. And community partners who are all there in the implementation stage to implement those programs. So they will contribute in a different way. So they will provide you information about various aspects of those policies. So they are a particular set of people. Second one is people affected by this policy. Affected doesn't mean that negatively affected, positively affected as well. People who gets affected by these policies. They can be community members or community partners, may not be members, but community partners, private institutions, or local decision makers. say PRIs. So they give you contextual knowledge, what is the potential of the programs implemented in that area, and what kind of educational requirement needed or educational situation existing in that particular area. What are the cultural aspects to implement those programs? So they are the people who get benefit or affected by this any policy. They may also get more employment by implementing these policies. Okay. So in other words, beneficiaries. Okay. The third one is equally important, that is administrators of resources to implement programs of a policy. So they are both officials and also administrators. They are in different stages. They are at a state level, district level, below district level, even panchayat level officials are there. Their contribution is very, very important because they are the persons who are really implementing those programs. So we need to interact with them also to understand impact of these public policies and legal landscape existing in that area to implement those policies and programs. So these three players, in other words, are very important. One is the people who can actually interpret about this policy. Second one is who get affected by this policy. Third one is the officials or administrators who are managing the resources or implementing these programs at the grassroots level. So these three aspects are important. Then I would like to directly go for an example with this farming system for nutrition, which is promoted by Professor M.S. Swaminathan in 2000. This is nothing but introduction of some agricultural remedies to the nutrition maladies prevailing in an area through mainstreaming nutritional criteria in the selection of farming system. It doesn't mean that if you closely look these government records and government operations, each district, they have their own, cropping pattern strategies. They have to be taken in each and every year. So the point here is, if you want to address nutritional problems in a particular area, you find strategies through which the nutritional problems can be addressed via food-based approach instead of pharmaceutical-based approach. So we need to introduce those strategies when we plan for a cropping pattern of that particular year. So yes, this year we get normal rainfall. So we are going for 3 seasons cultivation. So when we go for a popular varieties, if you find, say, this anemia level is very high in that area, so find some food-based approach to address those anemia prevailing in that area. Say, for example, promoting iron-rich varieties. I can give a popular example from Andhra Pradesh. The study done by government nutritional institutions found that zinc deficiency was very high among a certain community in a coastal belt of Srikakulam district in Andhra Pradesh. So that area is known for a larger cultivation of paddy varieties. So they found that a particular variety, Dan Shakti, is a zinc-rich variety. So what this local government decided is to introduce that particular variety of seed to enhance zinc availability in the food. They have tested that with the community. The taste and the texture of that cooked food has very much accepted by that tribal community. Then the government introduced this Dan Shakti variety in that Srikakulam area. Okay, after 3 years, they have tested and came to know that the zinc deficiency had declined among the community, where this Dan Shakti variety was introduced. So it's a typical example of addressing a nutritional deficiency through a agricultural approach. So this kind of strategies we can promote to address your nutritional deficiency. That's what called as farming system for nutrition. What we have done in 3 or 2 years before, 3 years before, to understand scope of introducing such farming system for nutrition in 4 states: Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Odisha, and Bihar. Okay, so we had a consultation with the different government officials, scientists, academicians like you, across these 4 states. But apart from doing all those consultations, we have done policy analysis on what kind of policies prevailing in those 4 states to promote farming system for nutrition in those states. Okay. For doing this policy analysis, we have taken some core domain and non-core domains. Both core and non-core domains should have covered food production, their access to food, and absorption aspects of all policies that is implemented in the state. And here I am giving an example from this Andhra Pradesh, which is very close to us, so that we can easily understand the context, since the context is more or less same. Okay, Andhra Pradesh means present Andhra Pradesh, not a old combined one. It's a divided Andhra Pradesh one. So there we analyzed policies that related to agriculture, food production, access to food, and absorption. Okay, so when we go for this policy analysis, we have divided the policy analysis into 2 parts. One is what is the policy agenda? Here we are not analyzing policy per se. We have an objective. Our objective is to promote nutrition and farming system for nutrition in the state of Andhra Pradesh. So in order to promote farming system for nutrition, what kind of policy spaces are there? What kind of scope is there in the ongoing policies? So that is our objective. So for that, we first analyzed policy agenda for all those policies. And then whether the policy agenda listed there, that converted into adoption. Adoption means developing programs to adapt agenda listed out in the policy. That I already told you. The policy into implementation, into programs. Okay, so we have analyzed policy agenda and also whether this agenda were converted into actions through adaptation measures. Okay, so we have some major topics. We have identified some major topics to do this agenda. One is agriculture production diversity, because wherever this diversity is there, the general assumption is the production diversity will automatically convert into biodiversity as people are consuming more from their own production. Okay, and then agriculture production itself to have a better income. Then biofortification. Biofortification is a way to, so Dan Shakti variety is a typical example of this biofortification to address a nutritional deficiency. The agricultural value chain, where in the post-harvest period, a nutritional enhancement can be happen. At the same time, there are some activities to reduce nutritional loss in the post-harvest period. So we have analyzed this agricultural value chain also. All these 4 items are coming under core domain. And the non-core domain, but still it is very important for this nutrition, farming system for nutrition, or nutritional education and behavioral changes. So whatever your production diversity, unless we understand the nutritional importance of this production, that may not be converted into consumption. Or the culinary practices may not be nutrition friendly one. So therefore, what kind of nutritional education and behavioral change policies are there, whether those policies are converted into action through adaptation measures, that also we analyzed. And women's empowerment. The role of women is very important. They should have empowered to understand these nutritional problems and also understand the ongoing agricultural practices to make those agricultural practices into nutrition sensitive. And natural resource management. Of course, when we say nutrition, it includes soil nutrition, plant nutrition, and human nutrition. So good soil nutrition can be converted into plant nutrition, and that plant nutrition can be transferred into human nutrition. This is how this scientists used to say that the soil nutrition should transfer into plant nutrition to be transferred into human nutrition. So therefore, we analyze this natural resource management as. So these are all our domains that we analyze all policies implemented in Andhra Pradesh as on 2020. So this here it is this review of policy agenda. We are not analyzing policy adoption. It's only a review of policy agenda mentioned in different policies. I mean, different policies released by Andhra Pradesh government. Here, I would like to say that the policies that were ongoing at the time of analyzing the situation in Andhra Pradesh. Okay. So, for example, this agriculture production diversity, there are policies that have had a statement on ending hunger, achieve nutrition for all, with the goals of agriculture, horticulture, fisheries, food civil supplies, tribal welfare, women and child development departments that were involved in those policies. So there are policies that made a statement. The policy agenda is to end hunger, is to achieve nutrition for all. That reflected in all these department documents. And there are those policies also highlighted the importance of convergence of agriculture, integrated water management, horticulture, sericulture, animal husbandry, irrigation, rural development to not only improve productivity production, but also profitability and resource efficiency. So to achieve all these things, they insisted about the convergence between different departments. And there, these policies see to promote IFS, that integrated farming system, as a response to reduce loss in food grain farming and in increased climate variability. So this integrated farming system has been read as a, savior from this food grain loss. And this IFS can be implemented through a convergence mode, since this integrated farming system components varied from crop to animal husbandry. All these departments should have involved in the implementation of this integrated farming system. And it also mitigate risk in drought-prone areas, as it can survive in the drought conditions also. Here, what I want to convey by reading all these things is, when we read a public policy, then we have to call out to points that relevant to our objective. So we have read all these policies in all these departments, call out points with respect to agriculture production diversity. Same policies, they have aspects on increasing agricultural production by ensuring timely supply and availability of quality seeds, fertilizers. This can be ensured through coordination with different agencies. Those things are listed in the policies. And policies are also emphasized on the importance of research and development to develop improved varieties with the high yielding capacity and both drought and flood resistance capacities. They highlighted importance of providing access to machineries, and also they recommended to start custom hiring centers. Custom hiring centers are small centers that can be established in mandal in Andhra Pradesh, that a block in Tamil Nadu kind of thing. So where individual agencies can run a shop to rent out farm machineries in a smaller scale. It's a kind of bicycle shop where you can go and take farm machineries on a rental basis. A small tractor, small sprayer, all those items are available on a rental basis. So those centers are called as custom hiring centers and service stations for all those farm implements. And they also insist to strengthen extension system through a mandal level multi-purpose extension officers in the place of Adarsh Ayuts. Adarsh Ayuts are the local level farmers. Now they have RBK centers in each Gram Panchayat at present. There they have these agricultural officers, and some places where this horticultural crop is also important, they have horticulture officers also. So each Gram Panchayat, you can say right to Bazar Kendra RBK. Okay, they insist about using IT to deliver extension, and particularly GIS-based certified land titles to the farmers. So the land titles should be based on the geoinformatics system, okay, GIS based one. And unfortunately, the state doesn't have any policy on biofortification. Though they employed these biofortified varieties in certain areas, there is no policy available for biofortification. Then this agriculture value chain. Yes, they are formulating agri-processing policies, which was not out at that time. And however, in these policies, these agriculture production related those policies, they highlighted about promotion of agricultural logistics and processing parks to realize better yield and better production diversity. And they also highlighted improving agriculture marketing in a farmer-friendly way. They highlight all those things. They also quoted the farmer-friendly reform index that they achieved at that time. It was only 56.2%. They wanted to improve into 81.7%. And they the policies encourage livelihood diversification by improving value chains in that area. So these are all the points that we call out from the policies as far as these core domains are concerned. Again, I reinstate that these are the statements made in the policy. It's not adoption, okay? And these are the non-domain or non-core domain themes-based statements available in that policies. As I already mentioned that in nutritional education, behavioral change communication is very important. They mentioned about mentioned about a need for state-specific social and behavioral change communication policy available in that area. They also, stated about this improving nutrition education among tribal women, panchayat level women, everything. And they insisted on the importance of promoting consumption of millets through creating awareness, also having a demonstration models in certain areas. And they want to engage print and social media to promote this behavioral change communication practices. And they also wanted to adapt a mobile app on nutrition education. They call this a utilization report where people can get back to these agencies on the utilization of these nutrition education tools. So the policies are clearly mentioned the importance of promoting nutrition education among different group of people through different modes, social and print media, even using this mobile app. And the sixth one is this women's empowerment. Yes, they recognized importance of women to enhance nutrition in the community. And they also insisted on empowering women through self-managed organizations who overcome social, economic, cultural, and psychological barriers, and increase gender equity. Steps to be taken in each and every sector stages to ensure gender equity in a way to reduce gender gap existing both in the wages, society, women's participation in different employment categories, etc., and also ensuring health to women. Okay, and For to ensure this large-scale participation of women fisheries, they introduced one. They wanted to. These policy statements wanted to introduce one system called Mahila Matsya Mitra groups, forming those groups among fisher women to ensure higher income among them who are involved in this fish marketing. Okay, such kind of thing. And natural resource management, yes, the policies insisted on importance of natural and organic farming. You know very well that is zero budget natural farming program was introduced by Andhra Pradesh government that I mentioned in the adaptation part. But the policies mentioned about this natural and organic farming, importance of improving soil organic matter, having soil health mapping at village level to ensure scientific application of inputs to the agricultural practices and water conservation through this conservation of water bodies. Andhra is also someone like Tamil Nadu where they have local water bodies in a large scale. And reuse, recycling of wastewater, rainwater harvesting, etc. Blah blah. And here also, when they have this integrated farming system approach, they mentioned that they should have promoted among the these drought-prone areas, and should promote in a way, should design in a way to reduce water requirement. So it should be location specific as well. Okay, and they wanted to continue this drip irrigation, micro irrigation programs. The policies insisted on the importance of maintaining water quality database. So that unless we have a solid database, the state may not be go for evidence-based programs to ensure water availability across the season to all group of farmers. So they wanted to develop a quality database. So these are all the things that mentioned in the agenda, policy agenda. But whether these agendas were converted into action, that we will come to know by analyzing programs implemented in the state. Okay, that's what I did in the second stage. Okay, so we have analyzed programs and we try to map those programs according to the domains that we identified. So the number one, the core domain is agriculture production diversity. There we analyze one program that Polambadi. Okay, it's a farmer field level course. The promoter to improve integrated crop management, etc. This RKVY is a national scheme and it implemented in a way to ensure higher agriculture production, agriculture value chains also. Okay, so these are all the programs. Polambadi, I don't want to repeat all those programs, but the point is there are programs that associated with the core domains that's closely associated with the policy agenda listed out earlier. Okay, so nutrition education, yes, we have, and this natural resource management, that this community managed natural farming. It was earlier named as zero budget natural farming, not the current. At present, it has renamed it as community managed natural farming. So these are all the schemes available to convert this their agenda into action to achieve the overall policy goal. But the point is whether all these programs achieved the agenda. No, we have find some gaps. So each policy agenda and also programs analyzed, and we find gaps in both the policy agenda and also adoption. And I would like to reinstate that we have analyzed these things from the lens of promoting farming system for nutrition in the state of Andhra Pradesh. Say, for example, number one, agriculture production diversity. The policy agenda status is something like they see this IFS are encouraged primarily as a risk mitigation strategy. Okay, and state nutrition mission also call for kitchen garden in agriculture, Anganwadi centers to improve availability of locally grown fruits and vegetables. So these are the two important things that closely associated with the farming system or nutrition. But the gap is the potential impact of IFS on nutrition is not recognized. So IFS has been seen as a risk mitigation factor only, but by introducing nutrition-rich varieties in the IFS itself can be a source for having more nutritious food at the household level in a way that IFS has greater potential to supply nutritious crops to the producer household. So that is not recognized here. And kitchen garden as a strategy at the household level is not recognized. The policy agenda promoted kitchen garden at the ICDS centers, but not at the household. But I would like to mention that in recent years, the state government is promoting kitchen garden through women groups. But still, converting this kitchen garden into nutrition garden in each individual household is somewhat a gap existing in the policy itself. Okay. So now we come to adoption with respect to this agriculture production diversity. The status in brief is something like few schemes to promote nutrition, integrated farm are in place. That I already mentioned, that integrated farm has a greater scope to promote nutrition at the household level. But the gap is we need to reorient IFS to take nutritional needs of the householder community to account wherever possible. So we have to reorient IFS. IFS is a scheme implemented in the field level. It's an implementation strategy in other way. So it's an adaptation strategy. And no allocation of guidelines have been made available for the development of kitchen gardens at Anganwadi centers. It was at 2020. Now they have some allocations, but the point is allocations are not available to promote kitchen garden at the household level. Okay. I told you that it was at 2020. Now they have some allocations, but those allocations are not effective, are not adequate to promote nutrition garden in all Anganwadi centers across the year. Okay. And the second one is agriculture production. When we see this policy agenda, the productivity improvement targets are those crops that are already cultivated by a majority of farmers. So for major crops, we have productivity targets, but no specific agenda to improve production of fruits and vegetables and small animals. Animal husbandry is also important. So the state doesn't have any specific agenda for promoting yield of small crops and also these animals for self-consumption. It was at the time of 2020. Now the state has slowly giving importance to promote millet cultivation, but still, if you see a diversity within millet, it's still a question mark. It confined to 1 or 2 crops. Okay, and the adoption for this agriculture production is several schemes to focus on improving production of livestock and fisheries and high-value horticulture crops, while National Food Security Mission provides support to pulse and millet production. Okay, this production enhancement confined to major crops and also livestock and fisheries with high value. This thing, but in the absence of clear agenda, there is no explicit statewide allocation for the program that aims to improve coarse cereal. It was at the time. Now the state has a millet mission, but again still has a scope as millet mission also concentrated on few crops. And the community zero budget natural farming is a well-known example for other states, but still that zero budget natural farming giving more training, but allocation and certain nutrition specific nutrition rich varieties, promotional activities are still pending there. Okay. And this biofortification, unfortunately, there is no statewide agenda is available. That itself is a gap. Okay. So in the absence of clear agenda, relevant schemes for the promotion of biofortification have not yet been adopted. So there is a dire need to develop an agenda for promoting biofortification, and agriculture value chains also something like that. because I have limited time. I just want to go for a recommendation part. So we have analyzed something like what is the status of agenda, gap, and this whether that agenda transferred into adoption, or even what kind of gaps are there in the adoption itself. With this, we come out with the recommendations. Recommendations are not standalone from this gap analysis. Recommendations are the results of those gap analysis in the policies. So for number one, the first recommendation is to improve nutrition must be placed as a key agenda in promoting integrated farming systems. So I told you that integrated farming system has been seen as a risk mitigation strategy, but it has a greater scope to address nutritional deficiency in that area. Therefore, the improved nutrition must also be placed as a key agenda in this promoting IFS in any particular area. And we need a clear roadmap for promoting biofortified cereals in the particular state. And production and processing strategies to increase the availability of pulses, millets, vegetables, fruits in local markets to be formulated. I told you that the policies, agenda, and also adaptation given importance for these high value horticulture crops and major crops. So we need to have a proper production processing strategies to increase availability of all pulses, millets, vegetables, and fruits in the local market, not at the national level or high level market, in the local market. Because whenever the availability of local market is more, people used to buy and go for self-consumption. You can see how this new dragon fruit varieties consumption has increased over the period. It is because the availability of all those fruits are more in the local market. It enhanced availability in the local market. That's how that transferred into our consumption pattern. Okay. And a state-specific strategy for nutrition education and women empowerment in agriculture and nutrition may be developed. Yes, nutritional education strategies are there, but incorporating food-based approach to address nutritional deficiencies, that should have developed in that state. And livestock mission is very much required for the state, but the state is having a separate scheme called ensuring dry fodder availability in the off-season. It is very important because many of the state areas are rain-fed areas, say Anantapur. But the holistic livestock mission, where they ensure quality material availability, quality services availability for small ruminants, that is missing there, that has to be introduced. A strengthened present agricultural extension system. Now this present government has introduced right over RBK in each and every Gram Panchayat, but that has to be strengthened. And legislation on homestead land is very much important. This is very much important to marginalized sections where they have 1 or 2 cents as a homestead land. So if they have the ownership of those lands, legal ownership of those lands, they will give more importance to maintain that land, where the state can talk about promoting nutrition garden in the homestead land itself. Because the studies shows that, even this NSSO unit level data also shows that whatever produced in the homestead land, that has impact on the consumption pattern. Okay, so these are all the recommendations that we derived from the policy analysis. So the point here is each policy, they have their own agenda. We have to call out those agendas, and we have to see whether those agendas converted into action by developing programs, whether that actions actually fulfilled our objective. If not, we have to find the gap, and the recommendations should be based on those gaps. So these are all the observations of Andhra Pradesh agricultural policies and programs in the lens of promoting nutrition sensitive agriculture or farming system for nutrition in Andhra. So I stop here. Would prefer to take questions and discuss more in the question. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful session. Really, it's very interesting. I also learned many things from your presentation, like the small schemes, how it will be going for the next level, like how we'll go to framing the policies. So really, it's many things I learned from that. How we can do this kind of small schemes, take for any further policy improvements like that. Really, it's very interesting, sir. And also you have explained very well, like about the uh, framing the policies, how will go to implementing, like how it will go to take actions, the government policies like that. So really, it's very interesting, sir. So actually, we have a lot of questions from the participants. Like I will go to ask only few questions, sir. Like the question is asked by Professor Rutrayan Mishra. Sir is from Gujarat Institute of Development Research in Ahmedabad. Sir has asked, like, what about agri marketing, given the kind of asymmetry between producers and consumers of agri products affecting food intake and nutritional outcomes?
Yeah, that the state has covered this kind of agri marketing under agricultural value chains related policies. The point is, again, the state, like nation, they give importance for this e-norm and ensuring agriculture marketing in the nearby areas to get higher prices. But as I mentioned in that recommendation, and that agriculture marketing policies that ensure availability of diversified food items in the local market is very much missing. That's what not there in that other policies. Raitu Bazar Kendra, RBKs are functioning in Andhra Pradesh widely. They have their own marketing facilities. But nutrition-rich, locally produced products should have a proper marketing in nearby areas. We need a policy and policy-based programs to ensure that availability across the state.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So at the same time, another question is like, actually, the previous years also we are talking about, like many of them they are talking about like doubling farm income. So in that case, how it is possible to like we are facing like many other open market factors also is affecting to achieve this doubling farm income. And at the same time, how it is going to integrate it with that the Tamil Nadu agriculture policy, like that they're asking.
See, when we say doubling farm income or farmers' income, both are different. Okay, I take this since you talk about farm income, I also confine to that farm income itself. It should not be seen in the post-harvest period. It should have been seen from the cultivation itself. That's how you, if you have an opportunity, you just to go through reports produced by Ashok Dalwai, Dr. Ashok Dalwai headed National Commission on Doubling Farmers' Income. They have produced something around 13 reports, and all those reports covered aspects from production, I mean pre-production stage into post-harvest and marketing stages. It involves, we have to ensure that quality seed availability, scientific farming practices, recommended dosal applications, proper agricultural operations, ensure quality producers in that harvest period, and also promote marketing those producers in a better prices. Okay, that they also talk about post-harvest processing technology. So wherever possible, those products can be converted into byproducts, can be value added and marketed at the higher prices. The point is that when we talk about this doubling farmers' income, it should have seen for the entire crop cycle, not at the post-harvest alone. So the state government policies ensuring these quality seeds are there, but the point is we should ensure availability of all those things for all farmers, because the country, if you take the country as a whole, more than 3/4 are small and marginal farmers. In Tamil Nadu, it is it is 86%. So all these schemes and policies should have reached the small and marginal farmers on a timely basis.
Thank you, sir. So at the same time, like in agriculture sector also facing like the greenhouse gas emissions. So on that way, they were asking like what innovative farming practices and technologies will help reduce greenhouse gas emission, conserve water, and promote soil health. So this is one questions they were asking from the participants.
Yeah, thank you. So I'd like to start answering this question with the data. So if you see the latest situation assessment survey report released by NSSOM, only 44% of farmers received any agro advisories from any sources. It can be government or agricultural institutions or private NGOs like us. So only 44% of them received any such kind of agro advisories. Here, a scientific knowledge is very important to ensure reducing greenhouse gases or anything. So whether you go for natural farming or organic farming or conventional farming, whatever it is, that should have been done in a more scientific way. So that's how you can reduce these greenhouse emissions. People talk about crop diversity, other things, but if you go for overuse of your inputs, if you go for unscientific operations, that will be resulted in reducing your soil health and also increasing greenhouse gas emissions. So the soil health maintenance itself is a part of your curriculum, agricultural curriculum. So when you go for a conventional farming, they never says that you need not go for any green manure applications before cultivation. So we have to do that one. So what kind of activities should have been done while doing an agricultural operations? Those things should have been reached to the farmer. So reaching of scientific information to farmer is important. Even for organic agriculture, they should know how to do this organic agriculture. They know how to do these natural farming practices. So it is very much essential to ensure reach of the scientific information to farmers at the right time. We observed that many places farmers used to apply pesticides along with the tonics. Tonics are not at all required. So certain pesticides are required to control pests on a timely basis. That should also not be overused. And there are certain cases where naturally we can go for controlling these pesticides, pests and diseases. Okay, there farmers can adapt those things rather going for application of pesticides. Okay, so this pest and disease control is very much important, and also the proper way of cultivation of any crops. That only can ensure, a proper utilization of water and also protect your soil health. Greenhouse gas emissions, I don't want to go into that controversy now, but it's a kind of strategy used by developing nations to stop developing countries like India. I think we need not worry that kind of those things at present stage. Let us talk about improving income and also enhance yield by promoting scientific operations.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. At the same time, the trending or this emerging economy, like the artificial intelligence or the digital form of marketing, like these are the trends are going well. So at that perspective, one question is there, like how can we harness big data, artificial intelligence, and digital technologies to optimize agricultural production and resource allocation?
It's a good question. So here, the role of government is important. We never say that, we can't say that it is not yet started in agriculture. It has started in agriculture. Many private agencies are using these technologies to capture farmers' data and also reach farmers through different modes. But the point is, what are the areas to use this artificial intelligence and digital tools? That is very important. And most of our farmers, as I already mentioned to you, that are small and marginal. So you can't expect them to invest more on this area. But there are certain things that pest attack, disease attack can be captured and analyzed using these digital tools. See, most of the farmers are having small mobile or something. So we can ask farmers to take photos and send to one agencies. When you compile these photos, it will become a source for developing artificial intelligence based data. So AI methodologies, they use all these photographs to come up with any solutions. So it will become a data for any scientific based solutions. You take this crop. So crop insurance has been running by taking samples in each mandal or block. It's only 10 sample per block. That's how many farmers reported that they are not getting proper this one, crop insurance. So if you go for picture-based crop insurance, where each individual farmer can take picture of the crop and share with that agency, and your analysis at the end of that crop cycle based on these pictures, that will give a real, that will help you to implement crop insurance on a individual land-based, rather sample-based. So you can use your artificial intelligence to promote such kind of things. So both the pest and disease control measures and this crop insurance things, we can go for a better digital technology. And soil health maintenance also, yes, we can go for that one. But the point is, we need public resources, as the farmers are small and marginal, are not having adequate capital investment. So we need a very huge extension system with a high financial resources to ensure equitable implementation of these digital tools in the field. Otherwise, it will be in the hands of few individuals who can mobilize profit from this technology.
Okay.
Drones are implemented in certain areas where they are having these high value crops in a large scale. It's a typical example. It should be like a tractor, how this tractor mechanization implemented in a country, in this country. Okay, it should not be like drone technology.
The last one question, sir, actually it's related to policies and strategies. What policies and strategies will protect food security in the face of geopolitical conflicts and disturbations in the supply chain?
See, it has international politics as well. We have commitments with international agencies. We have commitments with the WTO. Though you have your own pulses production, you have to import certain pulses from countries like African countries or Canada, because that's a commitment you have with the international agencies. So we can't say that we can produce everything. So we immediately come out of this, any import kind of things. We have commitments at international level, but even at the national level, we have our own pros and cons. We have the largest plain area in the world, but at the meantime, we have different agroclimatic zones. We can produce everything by ourselves. That we have to recognize. And there are certain things, very essential things that are concentrated in few areas. Tomato and onion are very good examples. So 44 to 45% of your onions are produced in 6 or 7 districts of Karnataka and few districts in Maharashtra and few districts in Madhya Pradesh. If you take these Maharashtra districts and Madhya Pradesh districts, it will be around 55% of your total requirement. So those kind of concentration of essential items which are required across the states and across the year, that have to be decentralized by promoting, by finding ways to cultivate onion in other areas. So varieties have to be developed, and we have to make ready our farmers to go for such kind of cultivation. So those kind of operations we can do. Same thing exists for tomato also. And that is also produced in the month of May and June. If there is any disruption in May and June, you will get all these prices increase in June, July, August. If that harvest in September get disrupted, then this October, November, December, these two prices will go like anything, because these are the festival seasons. Okay, so we need to have a land-based, season-based, demand-based crop models to ensure availability of crops, products across the year at affordable prices. But the international politics, we can't do anything at the individual level, but we have to obey those things. We can't come out of this international business because we depend on other countries to get oil, pulses, everything. But if you read this National Commission on Farmers, there the scientists promoted, suggested to have Indian international trade organization. We have Indian trade organizations. So there we can generate scientific evidences to go for such crop models. Instead of talking about farm to plate, let us plan for plate to farm. So what is our requirement? So requirement-based cultivation we can plan. So that requires a lot of scientific knowledge and financial resources and dedicated data collection, evidence producing from the farm level.
Thank you very much, sir, for your fruitful session. Really, we learn many things from your lecture, sir. So I think now we end up this lecture. So now I request Dr. Atmaramani to deliver a vote of thanks.
Thank you, Perisami, sir. And it's my great privilege to give a vote of thanks for this session. First of all, very good morning to one and all present here. On behalf of NM Mahalingam Center for Public Policy and School of Economics, Kumaraguru College of Arts and Science, I extend my warm thanks and welcome. We would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to our today's resource person, Dr. R. Gopinath, sir, Principal Scientist, Department of Ecotechnology, MSSRF, Chennai, who accepted our invitation and enlightened us with thought-provoking insights about agricultural stuffs. And your lecture has provided a tremendous area and tremendous interest to learn the importance of agronomics, policy concerns. Even you mentioned all the major points, such as a role of different people involved in the entire agricultural process, production, and policy making. And you also covered agriculture production, biofortification, and correlation of nutrition and agricultural production and different agricultural schemes and its impacts. Thank you, sir. And we really appreciate your excellent contributions in the field of agriculture, and it is really inspiring for us, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And we would like to thank our joint correspondent, Thiru Shankar Vanavaraya, sir, for always providing a constant support in every progress of us. And we extend our heartfelt thanks to Dr. Vijaya Edwin Kennedy, ma'am, Principal of KCLAS, and for your continuous support and encouragement at all points of time. And thank you, ma'am. Our sincere thanks to all deans, heads of departments, communication department, technical teams, and faculty members, all the faculty members of KCLAS. And also, we would like to convey special thanks to our own department faculty members, HOD ma'am, Dr. Suvarnamani CV, Dr. Perisami sir, Dr. Mrs. Shweta ma'am. And we also extend our sincere gratitude to Visual Communication Department, Professor Dr. Leo Gertrude sir and his team for their constant support in making this event more successful. Thank you, Professor Leo sir. And we extend our sincere gratitude to all the head of these institutions, directors, deans, research scholars, parents, students, and other participants who actively participated in this event. Also, we would like to thank each one of you participated here for your patient listening and support. We extend a warm welcome to all of you actively participate and engage in all the upcoming monthly lecture series of NMCPP. We will also update you about other significant actions of our center. Thank you. And finally, thank you on behalf of Kumaraguru College of Liberal Arts and Science, and have a wonderful day to all. Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Atmaramani sir.